right. Thank you for joining us. Today we are going to be kicking off the Phantom's Call, episode 5. We are joined by none other than Zuzu and Pap Tez. They are also streamers / content creators for Summoner's Glory. We're going to kind of going over some general topics about the game, as well as get some of their inputs about future changes and things currently going on in the game. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right.
Let's do it.
So what are you guys' thoughts on these new updates? Zuzu, you want to start us off with, so we get that new aesthetics on the Gehenna and Temple, as well as just like the new skin that they kind of did for like the Temple and Gehenna. Do you think like with that coming out that we're going to see maybe some like Takmir Palace or some other new updates that are getting some reskins and look cool? Or what's your kind of thought on that?
Oh, man, the thing of it is, I've been wrapped up in games in the past where I've really been like super hyped for things, and people are gonna say this is a generic answer, but it is 100% true. Is like I'm always really reserved at this point, I guess because of my age, where it's like I'm just cautiously optimistic now, where it's like I see the things that could be coming, and I'm kind of happy about the possibilities, but I'm going to reserve a lot of the hype and excitement until I actually see what the finished product is, because as we've seen with even simple things like events, it's not always presented to us how it's portrayed to us initially. So, as excited as I want to be for certain things that I've seen that could be quote unquote coming,
Right.
I just kind of want to see it in the finished product before I really kind of say, yeah, that's amazing, or you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So you're taking more like the reserved approach on that. Like, yeah, like they're kind of do some good things, but I'm not going to get myself worked up or too excited until I see how they actually like physically.
And that doesn't mean that I'm not
right?
happy about it, right? It doesn't mean that I'm trying to be negative or anything. It just means that, I'm being realistic as far as, if I get all excited about it and they change something, or it's not what I have built it up in my mind to be,
right?
Then I would, maybe feel negatively about that. So this way, if I go in with maybe even my expectation is lower than maybe it would be normally, then maybe I'd have a better time with it when it actually comes out.
Okay.
So that's kind of as being the old man around here, I guess.
I think so, man. I just think you're taking a balanced approach to it.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair.
That's just kind of what I learned to do.
Yeah. Pap Tez, what about you, buddy? What's your view on it? Like, how are you thinking? Are you sided with Zuzu over there, or you got your own thought on it?
I'm pretty close to Zuzu.
Okay.
I guess basically for me myself is one of the things that I've come to realize now is that, and I'm just gonna say it kind of this way, is that we as consumers, we have a viewpoint of what we want, and it's very hard for developers to deliver on that, I think, because it's almost like, having a real world things updated, things changing type deal. I feel like that a lot of times that's kind of what we would love to see, but it's just really hard for them to create things like that. So I know that there's basically a content loop. Like, you have to create a content loop and try to make it enjoyable. And I think that they've done a decent job at doing it so far. And I can't wait. I'm actually excited to see what changes they do. I like what they've done with the 2 areas, with the temple and the other area. And I want to see them continue to make those changes. Graphically wise, it's still a pretty game already. But I definitely want to see some more improvements. I can tell, I don't know if you can tell the difference in the main character now. They are so much less blocky than what they were. They are so much less blocky than what they were. Like,
I haven't actually noticed. So it's interesting.
At least to me, okay. I think I've noticed that they aren't as blocky as they were. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited for the changes, but again, the same thing with Zuzu, just kind of taking that kind of balanced approach to what they have going on. We'll see what they do. Let's see when they come out. Let's see them really put the things out there that they say that they're going to put out there, and see what they do with it.
Okay. It's fair. I like it. I like both approaches to it, actually. So myself, I'm kind of on the fence as well. Obviously, me, content creator, we talked to the publishing team, and they, I've been just kind of waiting for actual concrete, solid information, and they have been able to give it to us. So I feel like your guys' approach on the, kind of we'll wait and see kind of what happens before you get our hopes up, may be the best route. Maybe not. Maybe they'll surprise us and they're going to knock it out of the park. So also with like these new updates and whatnot, we have gotten the new runes. So like the fiery and the frost runes. I don't know. Like, have you guys been seeing them being used more often within? Because I know you guys are both on server 1. I know you guys also have Smurf accounts in other servers, but I haven't been seeing the fiery and the frost used quite as much. But I do feel like moving forward, they could really be part of the meta. What's kind of your guys' take on that? Pap Tez, you want to start us off with that one?
Yeah, I'll start off on that one. I don't
Okay.
know too much about the fiery one. I
Okay.
haven't looked too much about it. What's the stats on it again?
The fiery one has got the
Speed or something?
yeah, it's got speed, and then I gotta remember what the other stat it can do.
Yeah, I was thinking
I
the
want to say
first
it's
stat was
HP.
okay.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Joey's
Let's see.
in chat says 10% HP.
10%
HP. Yep. Okay. I thought it was
5%
HP
speed.
and speed. So yeah.
Okay, cool. I see them being used a little bit further, especially as people get good rolls on them. Especially for certain characters, HP based characters. I mean, I'm looking at Lord of Shadows. I'm looking at Sea Conqueror in particular. For both of them, it's really cool, especially Sea Conqueror. You get an HP and the speed, two of the main stats that you're looking at for her.
Right.
The others where it has like that crit rate bonus on there. I mean, I think it's really really good. I've seen a couple of pieces that people have had that have been literally nuts. Doubling back either on speed or doubling back on the crit rate. Like I've seen some really good pieces. I think that they have a good spot in there. And the thing that I like about them probably the most is that they're not necessarily game changing. Like they're not breaking the meta or anything like that. But I think that they fit in nicely and they can be used across the board by different types of phantoms. And that's
Okay.
something that I hope that they continue to bring to the game. Not coming out with, the next one that makes the previous runes obsolete. 20% crit rate and 20% crit damage on a rune.
Right.
That might be a little bit too much, for example, because it'll make some of the others obsolete. So I think they have a nice little spot in there, and hopefully we'll see them make those type of runes like that.
Okay. Hey, Zuzu, what about you, man? What is your thoughts on them? What have you seen?
Well, I have vastly more of the frost than I do of the fire. I have a couple fire just from rewards that I've received from like arena or whatever. But even the frost that I've gotten haven't been really useful to me. The with my account being where it is, I'm anything rare or below really isn't going to do a whole lot on my phantoms at this point. Even though the
Right.
stats are amazing, just the gold investment that it takes to roll those runes up, and the fact that they're not, epic or legendary runes, and the stat, bonuses being a little bit lower than those levels, it just wasn't really worth it to me to take the chance on those ones right now. But I do see the value in the actual, the set bonuses once I can start actually getting some legendary and epic pieces in those sets. I mean, it's amazing to have the multiple option, the multiple set bonus set bonuses on there. Definitely would be useful. Like when I was building, I was looking for things for even like Merlin, for example, with the frost set.
Right.
That would have kind of come in handy for him. But it's just kind of one of those things. I just don't have enough of either one yet. But I do agree with Papa Tez. It's nice to have those kind of new sets coming out that aren't so powerful. That's like, well, I'm going to throw this old set away because now I don't need it anymore. I have this brand new set. Everything is still useful for the meta building. So yeah.
Yeah. I feel like they synergized really well with the current meta, anyways, as it is, right? Like the fiery adds that extra little it's not harvest where you get more speed, but you do get the 5% speed, right? With the 2 set, which really, just moves really nicely into and meshes into what we currently have. And same thing with the frost. I mean, the frost kind of replaces harvest as far as just the 2-piece set goes, but it also has that nice extra physical and magical damage in there that really, I think, sets it apart. So yeah, no, I definitely agree with it. I don't know about you guys, but man, I wish we could get more of these quicker. I only have, I think I have like 5 good frost pieces, and I think I only have maybe 1 good fiery piece out of this whole ever since they've been released, and it's so hard to really farm these.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I have kind of like I was gonna ask you Zuzu actually on this, because I only have a couple of pieces. But Zuzu, did you get any of the legendary or um epic pieces for the frost set yet?
I think I might. I know I don't have. I have actually. The funny enough, I do have one fiery legendary that I got, and it was actually kind of crazy because I was showing somebody my runes, and he's like, "Where'd you get that fiery legendary piece?" And I'm like, "Honest to God, I didn't even realize I had it because I had gotten it as a reward, like I said, from a arena reset, but I didn't even realize I had gotten a legendary one of those. But obviously, one of those aren't going to do me any good as far as a set bonus. But as
Right.
far as the Frost set, I've maybe gotten a few epics, but I don't believe I've gotten any legendary from the Frost set.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
but
I've gotten lucky on the Frost, mainly just from doing the tournaments and stuff like that. Really got really lucky getting a few of those, but
what I
yeah.
hope they do is I
What's
hope
up?
they eventually work those into, like, because obviously they're new now, right? But I hope
Yeah.
they eventually work those into other opportunities as far as even, because it's really difficult right now that the level 20 and the Demon Fortress, really
Right.
difficult to beat, right? We all agree on that. I think it's fair to say. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
give us a reduced chance of getting those runes in those kind of areas, but still have that as a possibility just to enable people to get those, in another way. Not all the time, not as common as the regular sets, but just some other way for people to get those who maybe aren't able to put place really high in arena right now, or aren't able to really knock those events out right now. Because really, if you're not able to do those two areas, you're not going to have a lot of these new sets, and you're going to feel kind of like you're lagging behind a little bit. Now, granted, if you're able to beat 20 in the dragon or the wolf,
Mm-hmm.
you should be able to place pretty high in arena or do the events, right? But at the same
Right.
time, if you don't enjoy those areas of the game, then maybe you just choose not to do them. So you should have, just maybe just so you can have those options as well would be nice.
True, that would be nice. I know I was interested myself. I was wondering if whenever this Mystic and this Morgantor open up here in the Demon Fortress, if
Oh,
that will unlock the chance to get those two runes by chance in one of those areas.
yeah.
So hopefully they do something to kind of change that up and make it more easier to farm these runes instead of keeping it limited just to the arena and tournaments and whatnot. But
Yeah.
speaking of the tournaments, guys, how do you guys feel about them? What's your guys' opinion? Like, you guys are both Raid Shadow Legends players, so we're no strangers to this whole like let's have a daily, weekly tournament type deal. What's your guys' thoughts on them? Like, how do you feel, and how have you seen them kind of played out in server 1 and the other servers in the game? Zuzu, I think you're up.
Well, for one thing, let me first off say, and people are probably gonna be mad at me for saying this, but they need to have at least one more event with Puppet as the reward, because I'm really close to finally getting a Puppet for these fragments. So, BMG, if you're listening, and then if anybody just has some connections, say, yo, we need one more event with Puppet, or I'm gonna be upset. Okay, just getting that off my chest right now.
Can't have
If you take
Zuzu
it away,
upset.
it's malicious. All right, it's gonna be personal.
That's
But
it.
with that being said, um, I think it needs to be balanced a little bit,
Okay.
and let me explain what I mean when I say that, because you've had events where it's been, in fact, we've had a few now, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
and none of them have felt really similar in the difficulty. I feel like you've had some where it really felt like it took a ton of your time. You had some where it felt like it was super difficult to really get up the ranks, and then this last one, you took a rune from 1 to 12 or 1 to 15, and you were done.
Right.
And it was like, okay, if you had the gold, you were done in like a minute. It's like not
Right.
even. So it's like I think there needs to be some kind of balance in there somewhere. And some might agree, some might disagree, but it's like, I don't know. It just kind of feels a little bit off to me in general, I think.
Okay, so like when you're talking about it, so are you thinking like for the balance, like what would you propose for a balance? Are you thinking like splitting it up into like your main summoner levels, like tier group type balance, or are you talking just like overall points balance?
Well, it's more of like, if you're gonna make them difficult, make them difficult. If you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
make them easy, make them easy. Like it's just a matter of kind of more of a quality
Okay,
control situation. You know what I mean?
gotcha.
Like,
You're going up for this consistency as these tournaments are progressing type deal.
right? Because to me, that we all, I think we can all agree as a community that there's a lot of quality control that's going left unchecked in general.
Okay.
As far as whether it be spell checking, stuff with words that aren't spaced properly, just simple stuff like that, all the way up to, events that could be, tweaked a little bit to be more consistent across the board that just aren't. I think a lot of that needs to be kind of a little bit more watched closely. It's just one of my pet peeves is consistency in everything that I do is one of my pet peeves, and this is one of the things in this game. If there was anything about this game, because I love this game very much, but if there's anything about this game that is one of my pet peeves, is the inconsistency in a lot of the areas. That is a very simple fix in a lot of ways that has just been neglected.
Okay. Pap Tez, what about you, man? What are you thinking?
I'm just thinking that they should just hire Zuzu and let him iron out these kinks, and then we'll be fine. That's it.
Oh, okay. So you're just gonna
Here we
we're
go.
just gonna put our faith in
go.
Zuzu and let him sort it all out. Okay, I like it.
Too tight, my friend. I think you need to loosen that wig a little bit.
That's hey, it's fine. I'm good with it. Then we got an in. We got that in, Papa Tez. I see what you did there. I agree.
There we go. But honestly though, seriously though, I'm kind of in the same boat as Zuzu, where you know I want them to strike that balance in between it, and continue to bring in things that are like I prefer this style of tournament for sure, where it's a little bit easier to do because it's pretty easy for people to prepare for it even during the event. You know, you could just gold farm for a couple of hours once the rich goblins are up, and you're more than prepared for this event. And so I definitely want to see them continue to do that. I also want them to continue to be a little bit careful on the line of making things too repetitive in the events. You know, I know, like, of course, if you're pushing for different rewards, you want to have different things that will keep players engaged, keep them in the game, and of course you got to have, you know, a little bit of grind in that period. But I still definitely want them to just be be cautious of that a little bit there. I think overall though, it's nice to have events where you can basically get stuff for just playing the game. So I think that it's been pretty nice. It's been pretty nice, and a little bit of the variety that they're putting in events. I do want them to keep doing that there. So I think overall it's pretty nice with the events. Again, it feels like that everyone is kind of happy about getting rewards, but yeah, just finding that balance, making sure that they're listening to the community and how they feel about the tournaments overall, and then just making those adjustments.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely get down with that. Like, I do agree. I have noticed that when these tournaments came out, like the first tournament that was bugged, that was the best tournament hands down in any game I've ever seen,
and I missed it.
That first few hours into that very first tournament ever, that was amazing. So that kind of set the bar a little high. But no, I understand what you guys are saying. So they bounced back. They came back with the tournaments, and they're like, okay, well, here's your requirements. And I think the very first one after the mess up, it was okay. It wasn't that hard. But then the second one, I think it got just a little harder. And then, yeah, like you guys were saying, we're getting a little nervous. Like, okay, is it going to be the same thing each and every time? So I was happy to see that they got the new rune tournament out, but it took them a little while to get that changed up and switched up. And yeah, like Zuzu said, like it was super easy to finish this rune event. Like I did it on stream. I was all excited. I was like, oh, hey, yeah, you know, the tournament's live. Let's pull it up and let's talk about it on stream. And I just casually upgraded like an orange rune to like 12 or something like that. And I was done. I was like, oh, well, that was kind of lame. Like, I guess I'm done with the event. Like, I don't know. So yeah, I do agree. Like, I would like to see some sort of consistency as far as like if they're gonna do like, okay, this is what the tournaments are gonna be. Like, this is gonna be the difficulty. Like, I don't want the tournament to be over, or your portion of the tournament to be over like within 10 minutes. So yeah, no, I agree. Agree with you guys wholeheartedly. And Zuzu, definitely keep an ear out in case they need a developer or something like that. But I think Pap Tez will kind of throw your name in there. He'll vote for you, apparently.
If you need a reference, I got you, buddy.
Oh Lord. All right. So after all this talk about the tournaments and this, that, and the other, why don't we get into like some of the main content is on this game? So the storyline, guys. What are you guys doing with the storyline? Zuzu, are you have you been paying attention to the storyline, or are you a click
was
through
there a
guy?
storyline? My bad. I didn't realize there was a story. I just thought that was just something to slow me down getting leveled. I didn't realize there was a story behind that stuff. Oh.
So Zuzu's on the same page as me, but rumor has it, Papa Tez, have you been paying attention to the storyline? Do you know what's going on in this game here?
Just a little bit, just a little
Oh,
bit.
okay, okay.
I was talking to some friends as we were going through some of the story, some of it that I hadn't done yet. Um, I do actually plan on going back because they've kind of messed with me on it, and they're trying to convince me to make an account on server 3,
You
basically, and do the
should.
story.
Yeah, I
And what
mean,
I'm
it's the
telling
best
them,
server, so.
I'm saying, I'm gonna say it again. As long as you help me through the story, I'm highly considering it. Like I need you right there. You, and it might also involve you voice acting. I'm just letting you know in advance.
I
I'm
would
letting
even
you
be
know in
willing to
advance.
participate, Papa. I already got an account over on server 3. I'll jump in and help out too. What the heck?
All right, all right. Looks like
Yeah, I
we
mean,
might
we're
have it.
down. We're down.
We might
I
be
think we
settled
got a
there.
lot of people on server 3 that'd be willing to pitch in on that one.
All right. Well then I guess we're making a server 3 account. I guess that's it. That's it. We're making a server 3 account for the story.
There you
But
go.
basically some of the things that I noticed in the story
Hmm.
is just the amount of zombie that happens in the story that you don't even know that happens.
Zombies, like as in like brain flesh eating zombies.
They're not really brain flesh eating zombies. They're just zombies.
Oh, okay.
Is there a difference? I didn't know there was like different tier of zombies.
I think there's different tiers of zombies. Just
I don't
slightly.
know. It sounds like it. Sounds like there's a different tier of zombie. We may know
Mhm.
this had we not just like kind of clicked through the game, Zuzu.
I mean, well, I'm higher level than Papa, so I guess I did something right.
Maybe you did something right, but can you tell me about the ghost vault?
I
You
can take
know,
you through it.
that last area, are they real, or are they zombies?
It doesn't matter. They're dead by the time I'm done.
They're they're, they're zombies. And they're part of the story. All the people that got taken out and died in the story that you see, especially the last boss, you know, Ankaris and all them.
Ah,
You see Ankaris, you see Haley, I think is. What's the other two that are at the end of Ghost Vault? Yeah, they're zombies.
Margaret. Yeah, they're all
Yeah,
zombies. Okay,
they're zombies.
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't
Yep.
know this. Yeah, I didn't pay attention to zero storyline. So
That's why she's there.
okay, okay.
That's why she's there. And
Well, she died
quite a bit.
again, over and over again.
But you were about to knock the boots while you were out there at sea with her though.
Yeah,
You almost did,
I
but
heard
you
that
know,
was a
Did I
thing.
though?
I
the
heard
main
there was
character has. Go ahead.
yeah, I heard there was some sauciness going on in the storyline. What was up with that?
Yeah, I mean, you had Ankaris that was wanting to knock the boots and spend like her last living moments with the main character, and the main character is just like, and then it just got busted up in the middle of it. And then Haley, the probably the most talked about story portion that people hear is yeah, Haley wants the jiggly bits, man. Haley wants the jiggly
Oh,
bits.
okay.
100%.
Interesting.
100%.
Interesting.
Yep.
So
She even offered him to come into the hotel room to sleep overnight. And he was like, I'll sleep on the floor, or I'd rather sleep outside, because he wants to be faithful to his boo Noel,
oh,
their main
okay.
character.
Oh,
Or
so
she.
the main character is really into Noel. Okay.
So I mean, that's it. We know the story now. We're good.
Yep,
There
we're
you
caught
go.
up.
Now you're all good.
Yeah,
You're caught up.
we're caught up. We know what's going on. Zuzu, it was worth clicking through. It's all right. We got Papa Tez.
There you go.
filled us
We're
in.
good now. We got the
So me and my 30 levels behind the count, you know, gives you the full on story. So I take the sacrifice so that I could explain the story to you
Thank
guys.
you,
That's
man.
right.
Appreciate you.
We appreciate that sacrifice.
Very welcome. Very welcome. Just reward me with those thought carries and we're good.
Oh, nice, nice. So, speaking of the Ankaris apparently dying at the end of the game, so there was talk of there may or may not be some sort of a phantom rebalance coming along. I know, like our girl Ankaris, our girl Zoe, they're like the top two meta damage dealers.
I don't want to have this conversation.
What do you think is gonna happen with this this rebalance, and what with the rebalance, you know they're gonna change up the crystal shock with that. So what do you guys think is gonna happen with all this? Zuzu, let's start with you since you didn't want to talk about it. Let's just get it out there. Let's get it done. What's your thoughts on this?
Pain. That's what I feel is coming. Pain, man. I mean, like I ain't gonna lie. I had Zoe since very early on. I pulled her from a book shortly after I started playing, and obviously I got in Chorus and everything, and they're my boos. I
Mhm.
use them for everything, and I just hope that with whatever balance they decide to do, because I mean it's obvious it's gonna happen, right?
Right.
I mean they are, especially Zoe. She's like amazing. I just hope that it doesn't go the opposite direction and we make them not want to be used because I'm not going to say too often, but sometimes when games rebalance really amazing phantoms, champions, whatever you want to call them,
Hmm.
all of a sudden they go into the shadows and they're never seen again. And like, remember when they were amazing? Like, I don't want that to happen
Yep.
because that's really part of the game for a lot of people. Not just, I'm not going to say it's for me because obviously I enjoy a lot of the Phantoms and I can still continue to play. But there are a lot of people that just hang on to the fact that they have a Zoe or hang on to the fact that they have an Inkaris or a puppet or whatever the case might be. You know,
Hmm.
I just hope it doesn't go that far. I'm okay with balance. I'm okay with because with power creep you got to have balance, and with normal gameplay that's just part of life. But I'm afraid because of what kind of some of the balancing that's happened already in the game and
Right.
how well it's been done or how not well, I guess. I don't know if that's the word. Has been done. I'm a little concerned, man. I just
Okay.
hope they give us some real thought instead of just make it flipping switches. That's
Okay.
all.
Okay. Yeah, no, I feel like that's very valid. Papa Tez, what's your thought on it, man? Because I know you don't have all the Phantoms yet, right? Or do you have them all?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
I guess I'm gonna kind of side a little bit with Zuzu on this one because I have all the Phantoms. I love my Zoe. Like if they were to nerf her after I just now got her fully buffed, I would be pissed. I would be just absolutely pissed. But Pop Test, what's your thought on this, and what's your view? Because you don't have all the Phantoms, right? So you're going to be like more of the neutral ground on this. So what's your thought on this possibly upcoming rebalance?
I think that in short, Dragon Seers is gonna come out of people's vaults. He's gonna be able to summon fireballs and just set everybody on fire and just nuke everybody. No, I'm kidding. Um, and
I'm like, you better be joking right now.
Dragon Seer and Fear Demon are about to be top tier. In all honesty, the main thing for me is that I always want a balance to be struck when the quote unquote nerfs and buffs happen.
Okay.
Because I'm always in the favor of characters being buffed and brought up to the level of what's already there in the game
Right.
instead of just saying, you know what, we're just gonna take 20 or 30% of damage off of Ankaris. We're gonna take away the true damage of Puppet. Whatever could happen
Hmm.
that's out there. I want them to bring other players up just a little bit. Make these other players valuable in the different types of content in the game, so that people who are free to play or low spend, they have options that they can just use. Like, as much as I enjoy, of course, meta stuff, I'm always the
Hmm.
type of person where I think that other people shouldn't even feel that they have to have certain characters to run certain things. I feel like that just bringing the characters up and then promoting the variety, because we have all these different phantoms. So allow us to find different ways of using them, make them effective, find different team comps and stuff like that. But yeah, I definitely do not want to, watch other people, Lexi just getting her Ankaris to Evo 8 only to know a month or 2 months down the line, Ankaris is now in the background, like Zuzu said. It's just straight up trash. Why? Because she just doesn't hit as hard as she used to. And then somebody like Victoria shines and is just hitting like the same way Ankaris used to hit. I don't want to see that imbalance or whatever. I really want them to look at different phantoms that need a little bit extra. Maybe do little small reworks where there's needed. But definitely, man, just don't break it. Don't break the
Okay.
good things that are here. Don't break the good things that are here.
Okay. So you're looking to see so we're looking for hopefully a lot of testing, a lot of not so much just like, okay, like they're not gonna just change this and this and like nerf the meta to reset. They're gonna do like maybe they boost other lesser used phantoms and kind of just change the meta. Is kind of what your opinion and
Or
thought of
expand
this?
it, like
Yeah,
expand the meta.
Yeah,
Expand
Yeah.
the meta, expand it, because again, you know, it's to me, it's about making the champions that are useful. To me, when we think about, again, we're coming from a game. A lot of us are coming from Raid, where there's hundreds of champions. But
right.
how many do you really use? How
True.
many at the end of the day are you actually going to use at the end of the day? And that's one thing that I don't want to run into as much with the game. Of course, you know, you're going to have your main teams and your main things that you can do, but make it to where people can find other different comps and stuff. You know, it's fun and exciting when somebody comes up to you and says, hey, you know that you can clear a ton of content with Sea Warrior and Haley,
Right.
for example. You know, you don't necessarily have to have Zoe, Puppet, and Karis or some of the other top tier champions in the game to clear content. You know what? I found the way to do this using this team, or I found the way to do it
Right.
with this team. And to me, that just gives it a little bit more variety in the game, because more people feel like that they can stay in the game and compete. To me, it goes forward to what ways are you retaining the players into the game? And I think it's just one way it can.
Okay. Okay, I like it. I feel like it's a very good explanation. So I like that. And the other part of that question, guys, was the crystal shop. So you know, with the rebalance, like they're gonna switch up the crystal shop. I know you guys have been in the game long enough to experience a couple of different rotations for the crystal shop. Do you guys think they're gonna take like one of the nerfed phantoms and kind of throw it into the crystal shop, or how do you guys think they're gonna address the rotation for the crystal shop after the balance? Zuzu.
Oh man, it, it, I just I'm hoping they do one or two things. I mean, like man, if they put some of the phantoms that aren't great right now into the crystal shop after the rebalance, I'm hoping they really make some great changes to these phantoms. Or you know, they could always do what a lot of people have said to me personally that they hope they do, is put some of the phantoms that would come out initially before a lot of people started playing back in there. You know,
Oh, okay.
like Puppet or Zoe and stuff like that, just to, if they are going to rebalance and maybe kind of bring their especially with Zoe being like, you know, a lot of people think of her as like the number one, quote unquote, whatever phantom out there, just overall usefulness. If they're going to bring her level down a little bit as far as OP, then make her a little bit more accessible to everyone by putting her back in the shop again for people. I mean, I already have her, so obviously that wouldn't do me a whole lot of good. Mine's already fully skilled out, so wouldn't do me a whole lot of good, but it would do a lot of people a lot of good. Or, you know, it would do me a lot of good for them to put Puppet in the shop, even though I'm only like 20 fragments away for Puppet. Obviously, she has no books at that point or no skills at that point.
Right.
So I could get one, you know, for a skill. But you know, I mean, if they do end up putting those phantoms into the shop that aren't very good right now after they do a rebalance, it sure as hell better be one that's been really well reworked. Otherwise, it's going to be a big fail on their part.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Pap Tez, I'm mustache you this question as well.
Go ahead.
So what do you think they need to do with this crystal shop after the rebalance here?
I mean, always, man. When you talk about rebalancing the characters, the best time when you're rebalancing them, especially if you're making them more useful, is put them in the shop. Don't put in the ones that, you know, you know, if we see like Jester doesn't get that much of a balance or whatever, but you can get Jester for free by just playing the game, right? So that's not necessarily somebody that we want to see in a shop. But just like what he said, you know, somebody like Zoe or the ones that have already been done in a past. You know, you're talking about Zoe, King Arthur, um, you're talking about what are the other ones? I mean, Secret Dancer, Dracula, um, Puppet, seeing them come back into the rotation so where people can have another opportunity. Because think of it this way: all the people who started the game, you know, they had the opportunity to get some of these quote unquote game changing characters, right?
Right.
But how many more people have come into the game since then? And you haven't even launched yet. So then once the launch comes out, you know, or this rework, how are these other people going to have access to it? Where you say, man, yeah, man, I've had this character for 3 months. It became released in the beginning, and yeah. So it almost feels like it's an exclusive for those. Man, bring those characters back, man. Let other people come in and enjoy the fun too.
Okay. All right. I like it. I like the thoughts on that.
I totally agree with Rick James on that one. Sure.
I definitely agree with Rick James. He definitely knows what he's doing. He knows exactly how to entertain as well. So, without getting distracted too much by the amazing mustache of our co-anchor here, Pap Tez, what you guys' thoughts? So we've talked a lot about the rebalancing, what we think is going to happen, what hasn't happened, so on and so forth. One of the rebalances that we did get was actually for the Jade set for your main summoner. Have you guys been rocking that yet? Have you guys done anything with it, or are you kind of holding off on it? What are you guys thinking, or what have you seen so far in game with that balance they did with the Jade set? Pap Tez, you wanna start us off, aka Rick James, Mr. Flair?
Let me start this off. Let me take a look at it. And it's the Jade set. Let me go take a look at it here. With the +5 speed, increase the damage of the entire team by 10%. I like it. I like it a lot. I have a full Jade set that I haven't really used yet.
Okay.
And it's something that I plan on using in the future. It's just right now I feel like that the gold set with the max HP and also all allies taking 15% less damage for me right now kind of works. But that was one of the things that I was looking at. I have I think I have a couple of pieces that already have like the speed on them and just kind of re-rolling. And so yeah, like for me, I want to see them continue to do that across the board. Like I like to have different sets, but I want the sets to be valuable, especially coming to like different types of phantoms. So maybe this is and this I don't know. This is a long stretch here for me, right? Is the way that I've thought about it is your main phantom or your main character almost takes semi a back seat and they become either a debuffer, which is what a lot of people use, a debuffer to increase the damage of your other phantoms. For example, especially if you got a phantom that's running oppression, then bam, it's going to increase that damage. But there's other ways in which you can build that main character. You can have them, I think, as a buff stripper. You can have that main character as a healer. And a couple other ways in which so I really want to continue to see them make those adjustments to the gear and honor. So I'm in full agreement with it. Like I like the change, but at the same time, I don't know if it's enough to cause people to kind of move out of this is the set that you need to use.
Okay. All right, that's fair. No, that's fair. That's a good thought on it. Zuzu, what's your kind of thought or take on the new Jade set?
I think for if you're focusing a lot on arena and PvP, I think it's a great option to have.
Okay.
For me myself, it wasn't really on the radar much because I do a lot of PvE. I'm not big into the arena. I dabble. If for an event, I might jump in there and do my wins and stuff like that. But right now, for me, it's not a big focus. But it's nice for people to have that option for PvP because, as anybody knows, when you're PvP in an arena, you're not going to have these long matches. You're going to get in there, you're going to bust some heads, and you're going to either win or lose, and you're going to get out. So having that extra damage and stuff on those sets is nice. Now, granted, up against the other sets that are coming from Ghostfall, is it going to really be able to compete? With the additional 8% crit rate and the strike damage of 20% on all targets, like the Tide gives you and stuff like that. Maybe not. But at the same time, if you're trying to do arena and you're not able to run Ghostfall and you don't have all those hookups, then you still have that option of the Jade set, right? Because Jade is very accessible on the lower end dungeons. So I think it's a good move on their part to kind of make it so that's a little bit more accessible to help people that are in that kind of situation. I think sometimes the same kind of thing needs to be done with some of the other sets, like with the Dragon set being pretty much just a forgotten set right now. With the the 6-piece bonus being like one of those I think it's if you lose 30%, you get, what is it?
50% HP drop, and then the attack power increases by
Right.
30%.
That's one of my least favorite bonuses, if you will, just personally. I hate the fact that I have to be so down in order to get some kind of positive. You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
Right.
okay, you're already half dead. Now let me help you out. That's not the kind of gear I want to wear.
No,
Just,
the
you know what I mean?
conditional
Like,
requirements just keep you too close to death to really
right.
benefit from them,
So
right?
yeah, some other changes need to be made, but I think it's a good positive, especially for people just coming into the game where,
Mhm.
if they're not able to put a gold set together, because we all know that gold set's a really good leveling set to have put together, then Jade would be a nice option to have, just to get, some additional damage out there to kill those mobs before they can kill you.
Okay. No, that's
But,
yeah, I like that. Go ahead,
but
Papa. What you got?
Bloody Overlord.
I still don't have a bloody overlord, buddy. All
Really?
right,
I mean,
so yeah, I still
every,
don't,
every time I pull like 60 epic books, I
and
get
I've
a
been
bloody
farming.
overlord. Every
I've been
time.
farming him in a boat, and I still don't have enough pieces for him. So yeah,
Yeah, I got mine
I don't
maxed
know.
out. I don't know how I did it, but I did it.
Wow, you have a maxed out one. I was just saying maybe he's like, to Zuzu's credit,
Mhm.
feels like that there's only certain phantoms that you would have to run for them to actually benefit, and then the RNG of making sure that that phantom gets attacked. So like Bloody Overlord would be somebody that would benefit from that dragon set with having that increased attack power. He's already in his kit has it built out to where he's already gonna hit harder the more HP that he loses, every 10% that he loses. But
Mhm.
it's like, who's gonna spend all of that just to build out one phantom, or get something that benefits one phantom? And so yeah, that's why I can say, like, having that rework, and being able to have a little bit more intentionality. Same thing with somebody like Jester, who's like great, but it's all based on RNG.
Right. As long
So
as the
being
RNG
able to,
works, you can still hit.
yeah, exactly. But instead, having a little bit more intentionality with the gear, there, so that it makes it a little bit more beneficial, and you get to have that ability to use some of that stuff a little bit more. So
Okay. All right. No, that's fair. I like both your guys' opinions on it. Myself, I haven't really farmed any Jade set yet. I'm actually been working on trying to get a Tide set up for speed. Because yeah, like Zuzu said, I don't do a whole lot of the PvP content. I do a lot of PvE content, which is mostly just my gold gear for the damage mitigation, right? And I'm probably gonna make the Tide set just for arena, and then I may call it good there. But I do like the option that Jade now provides for that extra HP and speed for sure. So I like it. I do also like that they did that balance, because then that tells us, like, okay, they may rebalance some of that other summoner gear later on down the road, which really would get us really excited, right? Because yeah, like Zuzu said, like the one set does no good because you got to run your health so low for it to kick in, right? And it's only your main phantom or your main summoner. Sorry. You also have like triumphant gear that doesn't quite work correctly, because your main summoner just can't hit hard enough yet. So yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm with you guys on that one, but I'm more excited because they did make that balance, and I'm excited to see what they do later if they make another balance change. Speaking of excited things, so I finally just got my first Evo 8 Phantom. I think last week I got her, or maybe a week before that. How has the Evo 8 grind been going for you guys? Have either of you guys been able to accomplish that yet? Have you been able to get your first Evo 8? Zuzu?
I'm currently working on that actually right now. I have two Evo 7s.
Okay.
Actually did those back to back. I did those in a matter of 2 days,
Ooh, nice.
but I haven't done my Evo 8 yet. Honestly, it's just a matter of getting up the resources, and I've been kind of hesitant just to blow all the books, just because I don't know, but I feel like there should be an event coming soon, and I
Okay.
want to wait for the event to start, because it's going to involve probably Evos and book openings and stuff like
Right.
that. So I want to get the most out of what I can get out of. So,
Okay.
but yeah, that's my next is going to be an Evo 8, probably. Well, Zoe or Cars. Honestly, those are my two Evo 7s, so those will be one of the two.
Nice,
Probably
nice.
Zoe.
Awesome. Pap Tez, what about you, brother? Where are you at?
I got two Evo 6s and two Evo 5s right now,
Okay.
honestly. one of the I'm also doing the same thing is, and that's, I know it kind of answers maybe the next question a little bit, but it's just, encouraging people to save. Save for these events and get the most out of those events. Right now there isn't, like, we're not seeing like a huge variety of the content and stuff like that. So for now,
Mm-hmm.
save your resources and use them towards the events. Spend those times to get your Evo 7s, get your Evo 8s, and level up your characters. Then that way you get a few more rewards for yourself. Guess what I'm doing.
All right, no, that's fair. So speaking of the next topic there, Pup Test, since you were just talking, we'll go ahead and keep rolling with you. What's your number one new player advice? So people just starting out, day one, they watch the podcast and they're like, "Yo, what should I be doing in this game?" What's your advice? What are you telling them?
My advice is 100% get with a good group of friends. Find yourself some good friends. Find yourself some people within the community, within the guild, and play the game with them starting out, so they can kind of help you along, help you figure out what you need to do. The second thing that I would say is, of course, as we all know, if you're gonna spend any in the game, which if you're gonna spend any money in the game,
Yeah.
make sure you go to the shop. Make sure you go under gifts, rebate cards, and get both of the summoning book and then that diamond permanent gift, because that $40 will take you probably some of the farthest that I've ever seen in any type of gacha style game that's been like this. I've never seen another game that gives you a lifetime supply of diamonds, a lifetime supply of summons, that this way. I've seen something similar to it,
Mm-hmm.
but I've never seen it this way. So those are two things. And then number three is plan smartly, especially if you're going to be free to play, and
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're going to be low spend, and even people that are spending, plan accordingly. Plan according to these events. Plan according to the way that the content is going and stuff like that, so that you can make the most out of what you're doing.
Okay. I like it. That was very, very solid tips and advice. Zuzu, what about you, man? What are you telling these guys?
What Papa said, and
Okay.
then because he
All
pretty
right,
much
I like it.
like
I like it.
95% of what I was gonna say, but I mean it is what it is, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's the smart answer. But what I want to make sure people don't get hung up on, especially when you got a lot of people coming from like Raid Shadow Legends and stuff like that, is don't get hung up on comparing this game to another game. And
Mm-hmm.
that's really it's really when you're trying any new game, I try to do this for myself, because each game is going to offer you something different, and when you start playing a new game, you have to decide what that game is going to bring you in and of itself. So if you
Okay.
keep comparing the game to, like, well, let's just use Raid Shadow Legends as an example, right?
Yeah.
You're going to find good and bad things going back and forth, but if you don't really give it a fair shake or a fresh start in your mind, you could either cost yourself a good experience, or end up giving spending too much time in a game that you're not enjoying, because you feel like it's giving you something that you're not actually getting. So
Okay.
going with a fresh, clean mindset, of not trying to compare and contrast every little thing with another game, and just play the game for what it is, while making the smart purchases, deciding how you're going to be playing the game, whether it be small spend, no spend, or big spend, and then having a group that's going to be around you to get you the answers that you need or the help that you need when you need it. And then basically it's just all that kind of right in a nice little package, and then you'll be good to go.
Okay. Yeah, no, I like it. Yeah, I think you guys definitely nailed it as far as like what I would be telling new players, other than the most important part. If you start on server 3, use promo code THJ. That'll really help
Which,
you out.
by the way, I have been actually pushing your code here lately.
Oh, have you?
Mister.
He has.
I've gotten you at least 4 or 5 new folks using that code, just for the record. I should get some brownie points for that. Just saying.
Hey,
Yeah.
I like it. See, everyone's asking me like, how do you get on the podcast? See, Zuzu's doing it. He wins. He got it. He figured it out.
There he goes.
Yeah, I gotta agree with them guys. Like, use your resources wisely. Pay attention. the tidbit about don't compare this to another game is probably the best advice I've heard so far out of the people I've asked this question to. And I feel like it's just because every game is standard to itself, right? Like no game developers like I want to make a game just like this one and just capitalize off their money game. Like they're gonna have their own thing that really drives that game and makes the game its own. And you really take away from the game you're playing if you're trying to constantly compare it and you're wanting to see things from other games in it. So I like that advice, guys. You guys definitely nailed it. As far as just like, you know, trying to help out the new guys. And one thing I do want to point out as well, guys, so as we're sitting here talking to these guys, you need to go check them out as well, because they do a lot of carries, they do a lot of help with people in the community, and it's because they get it. Like that's what makes this game good, is because you can jump in there and you can work together as a team, as a formation, as a squad, as a guild, and just make friends. So that part is awesome. With that being said, I know you guys do a lot of carries on your streams and whatnot. How do you guys feel about doing the carries? Do you think that they're kind of limited? Or do you think they're like a little too OP? Or do you think they need to add carries into other aspects of the game? What's your guys kind of like just general like broad view on that? Pap Tez, I think you're up.
Okay. I think I'm actually gonna steal this from Zuzu a little bit from talking with him. It's just, you know, we're pretty good friends, so you know I tend to get a few things from him from now. But to me, any single time that you can allow people to play together, the better. That's one thing that again that really stands out, and I'm gonna throw a plug in here. I did my very first Summoner's Glory YouTube video today.
Okay.
I, I did my very first one, and that was one of the points. I was basically 3 reasons why to play this game, and that's the biggest reason. Period. Is being able to go out there and say a friend. You know, I think about it this way. You know, most of the time when you get a friend that's into the game that doesn't play this style of game or doesn't usually play this, what's the first thing they're going to be like? I don't know what to do. What do I do?
They're
Help
gonna
me.
be like, I don't know what's going on in this game. So,
and for them, instead of having to do it on their own, and you saying, well, you know, just go out there and level up and all this other stuff, you actually get a chance to. Thank you for that, Zuzu. You actually get a chance to go in there with them and help them through the entire thing, see what they're doing, and basically nurture them along so that they have a very good beginning player experience. And yeah, that to me is really important, and I really want to see them push that even more so in other areas of the game.
okay. So you want to kind of expand a little bit more on like what you can do for the carries, then, not limit it to just the instances in story mode.
Yeah, definitely
Okay.
not limited. Like create other content around those things, you know, especially for them wanting to kind of push the social aspect of the game, wanting it to grow. Well, you have to create content. You have to create you know, areas in a game where people can actually go in there and do it. It'll be nice.
Okay. I like it. Zuzu, what's your take on it, brother? What are you thinking?
I gotta tell you, man, when I started playing this game and I came over from Raid, I've been playing Raid for a long time, as many people know. And I was looking for a game, man. I didn't know what I was even looking for. And I started playing Summoner's Glory just on a whim from hearing a bunch of people talking about it in the Raid community. And when I found this game, man, I fell in love with the co-op aspect of this game. That entirely hooked me 100%. It really didn't even matter what the rest of the game was, man.
Right.
The co-op aspect of this game hooked me 100%. And when I started talking to people like you know, Taco and a few other people that you know, the names escape me right now because I'm an old man, but I told them my main goal in this game was to be able to get to a point in my account where I could run people through like they were running me through. You know, that was my wholehearted goal, was to be able to have in my stream say, okay, guys, we're doing Ghost Vault runs. You know, who wants to go? Who needs to go? Let's go do this. You know, that was my goal. And right now, I can say that, you know, I can't necessarily do it just by myself, but I have some people who are regulars in my stream right now that, you know, I say, hey guys, you ready to do some Ghost Vault? They're ready to go, and we're running people through Ghost Vault all the time. And you know, I can run through Ghost Vault by myself, obviously, but I mean, like, I can't take other people through just yet, you know, all by myself. But you know, so we're getting there. We're hitting the goals and stuff like that. But I mean, like, so that aspect of the game is really fun for me. But to touch on your point about, you know, as far as other aspects of the game that you know, we would like to see that as added to the game, and I would love to see some kind of co-op rune farming, like you mentioned this in some of the messages that you sent out. You know, some kind of aspect to be able to farm runes together would be amazing. Or, you know, a way to have a group kind of tower aspect, even in my opinion, would be kind of cool. Or, you know, not necessarily the current tower, because, you know, it is what it is in its own right, but have some kind of cooperative aspect of the game added where, you know, you go up together in the tower and kind of have more difficult areas that are only able to be beaten with teams. Like, it's just that difficult, where it takes strategy, it takes certain phantom matchups, maybe even, or it takes a kind of dynamic to make it work. You know what I mean? Not just raw damage, even. Maybe it takes certain debuffs, or maybe there's some kind of, you know what I mean, some kind of team dynamic requirement, being this is such a cooperatively based game.
Right.
Where it almost is like, you know, you don't have to go to that part of the game because it's not mainstream line game part of the game. But if you go there, it has certain requirements that require you to be in a group with certain things to be successful. And I think that would be really, really cool and interesting to have that as an option to kind of, you know, branch off into that part of the game.
Requirement of SS Goblin Transporter. Got it.
Still on that beam, Papa Tez. All right. I hear you.
Always.
Yeah. So, I mean, I really, guys, I kind of, like, once again, like, I mean, we've had a really good conversation about this. That I gotta agree with you. I have slightly different view on it, though. So I do like how, like, the runes are standalone, but I would love to see, like you're just saying, like, another area in the game, because like Zuzu, like what you said, like, you can do a co-op, like I can play with my buddies on this mobile game, like, okay, I'm good, like I don't care what the other content is, right? You know, I'm not paying attention to the storyline, I'm not worried about that. Like, I'm enjoying, like, playing with other people, like getting my stream involved, yada yada yada. I would love to see them add, like, base it around that more so, because that is what sets this game apart from most other games. Like, you know, add like a separate rune farming area to where, like, maybe they lower the drop rate a little bit. Like, I think right now, like, level 20 is like 15% drop rate for orange runes. Like, make a separate one and drop the drop rate to like level 10 or something for level 10, or like level 20 for it. Or make it, like, you know, make it more MMORPG style, because I mean, we're already, you know, moving your own character around in the game. You're going into instances, so you're already doing like raiding type stuff, like, you know, your World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy MMORPGs type games. Like, expand on it, you know what I mean? Like, add another aspect to the game to where it's like, yeah, like, okay, here's your demon fortress, but here's your, like, your, even if they want to keep it generic, here's your co-op demon fortress, and increase the difficulty. Or here's your, you know, your co-op of something else and increase the difficulty. Or like, here's the final boss, this is what gives you the best summoner gear, and so on and so forth. But you have to hit it as a formation. Like, it's impossible to do it on your own. Like, I think if they were to change a little bit of their model of the game and go more of the let's make this more of a collaborative game, I see, you know, just bounds and leaps differences in this game, and just longevity of it. Go ahead.
Or sorry to interrupt, but I just had like a thought. If they can make their servers a little more reliable and a little more girthy, if you will, for lack of a better word, maybe like 6 people teams, man. Maybe you make those teams bigger. You know what I mean? Like for a really tough, like a world boss kind of situation or something. Like, make like 6 people bring in 3 different phantom, you know, or 2 phantoms and a main character, and then have like really big boss battles would be kind of cool too to have. Well, because you mentioned World of Warcraft and stuff, is kind of what made me think about bigger teams. But yeah, I mean, that would be kind of a cool aspect. Obviously, their servers, I don't think right now would support that kind of activity, but I mean, that would be cool if one day it did. You know, sorry to interrupt, but yeah, that was kind of something that just popped into my head there.
No, and that's kind of where I was going with it. I feel like that would be really what would take this game to the next level, and I feel like that would. I don't know. I feel like the people who are still playing this game have tried it out. Like, you know, because a lot of people have tried the game, they kind of left the game. those who stuck around, like the biggest thing that they like is the camaraderie. And I feel like if they really center it around there, that would be like the best recipe for success. And that's just piggybacking off like what you guys were saying about the carries. And like, you know, you could tell that you guys were explaining to me like your thoughts on the carries. Like that's what kind of excited you about the game as well. So I feel like they would really, you know, benefit from expanding on that myself. So, all right, guys. Well, that is all of the topics that I have. But while we've been going over all this information, our friendly chat here, trolls included, have been redeeming questions to kind of go over and talk about. You guys got a few minutes to kind of answer some of the chat's questions that they asked during the podcast?
Absolutely not. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Nothing but time.
All right. So let's scroll down here. Ooh, we got quite a few of them today compared to last podcast. Oh man, trolls are out in full effect, boys and girls. All right. So it looks like first question that was asked at the beginning. This is from Joey B. This one's for Papa Tez. Just wondering how it feels to betray John and us legends in server 3 by joining server 1. I'm not mad. So I think he's calling you out, Papa Tez. What's your thoughts on that? What's your response?
Well, my response is that you know, ever since the one time when I was in there with Chosen with these legends and we were having a conversation, and the one thing that he said was that, you know, all the cool kids are on server 3, you know. So the one thing that I'm waiting is to see the widespread gift that I've given to server 3 come into fruition. You know, I've given you all a game to play. It's called Words on Stream. So I'm waiting to see that and see some amazing competition that we have in there.
Okay. I feel like you answered that one very, very accurately and admirably. All right. Our next question is from Nightmare. He said, if you could each create a phantom after yourself, what would the skill set be, and what affinity would you be? By affinity, I think he means element. Zuzu, let's catch you off guard first, brother. If you had to make your own phantom, what are you doing, and what element are you doing it as?
Oh my gosh, man, that's kind of nuts, bro.
All right, well, give us like one or two main kit ideas that you would have.
Well, I would have to say, I mean, because we don't really have a lot of options for really, like, other than King Arthur, there's not a ton of amazing tanks out there. So I mean, like,
Right.
I'm a big guy, so obviously you'd want like a really big, bulky looking tank dude, right?
Mm-hmm.
But every time you'd hit him, you know, he would just say thank you, and then
Oh man.
and, and then he'd throw a pie at you.
Oh, I love it.
Oh man, I like it.
Okay.
All right, that's all I can come up with off the top of my head, man. I don't really honestly know. I mean, the sky's the limit on that stuff. I'm just silly answer, I guess, is better than none, I suppose. But I mean, a tank is really a for real answer. But I mean, all that other stuff, I just I couldn't come up with nothing. So.
all right, fair. Papa Taz, what about you? What are you making? What's your dream phantom?
It's probably gonna be another silly answer a little bit. It's definitely gonna be a reviver.
Okay.
It'll be a reviver with some Jerry curls, and they'll have the ability called Soul Glow, and that Soul Glow ability is all you just hear is just a little bit of a tune. Let your soul glow, just let it shine through. And as that comes off, then basically the whole team comes back, 25% HP with a HP 50% turn HP increase, and increased attack power. 100% applying all debuffs. Okay, probably that's too much. Sorry.
and they're just dripping. You can see stuff just
And it's
dripping.
just dripping, man. They're just dripping off of it. Just dripping, man. Just dripping, man.
Oh, I love it.
Got a little hot there. Got a little hot with that one there. So.
The best answer I've heard yet for a phantom.
Yeah, that was amazing. Amazing.
Thank you for that one, Bubba Tez.
You're welcome. But on the serious note, yes, I do think that they should bring more revivers into the game, along with like what Zuzu said.
Yeah.
Give us, a little bit harder content. Have some team competitive content that makes them feel like that they're even more useful. Makes those healers feel useful. Makes those some of those other phantoms appear useful, so you can see those different team competitions.
All right. No, I like it. I like it. That's awesome. All right. So our next question also comes from Nightmare. Seems like he's using his brain today. You're the head dev for a day. What do you make priority number one? What are you making happen immediately? Zuzu, what about you, brother?
I think you already know my answer. I think you already know my answer, bro. Consistency, consistency, consistency. We're going through. We're spell checking. We're translating properly. We're going through. We're making sure that things aren't. We're fixing stuff. We're fixing the mentoring system that's been broken since the game come out. We're fixing a lot of the stuff that I deem very probably inaccurately easy stuff that are just little tiny things that just make my game look bad when people try to use it and it doesn't work right, stuff like that. And then once the little stuff is out of the way, then a lot of less stuff to complain about, and then we can start hitting the big stuff. But consistency as far as across the board, getting the things taken care of, that's where I would knock that stuff out quick. Okay. Well, God, Lust, that was, man, I forgot about that one. You're right about that, bro. The filter for the fast evos. About that, you're right about that. I'm gonna change my answer.
I changed my answer. It's we're gonna fix the fast evo
system so much right now. They need to fix that for real. That's my. Somebody's getting fired if they don't fix that. That's if I'm dev. Yeah, you're right. That's true. That's true.
All right, Papa Tez, what about you? If you're dev, number one priority, first thing you're doing, what is it? What are you fixing? What are you adjusting? What are you balancing?
Fast evo. Oh my goodness! Please, please fix the fast evo. Like I am begging them to fix this. Yeah. I want the filter that says, "Look at my A's. Look at my, my fire phantoms. Look at this phantoms." Like I want that. I really want that. That's number one. The second thing in the same long lines as Zuzu, going in and making these small fixes, looking to make these changes so that the UI is looking good. Same thing as if you're going into like guild, for example, the shop that's out there in the guild, it's on the same groups that have been out there for forever. Maybe rotate a couple of phantoms in that. Make people come in and check that shop there. The guild boss and the guild war, like. Let's go ahead and get a plan created for these things to make them a little bit more valuable so that people are paying attention to it. Make the guilds a little bit more valuable. Maybe looking at some other quests that could be expanded a little bit. Looking for some more bonuses. All in all, everything would be on making improvements and then getting other people into retaining the people that are in the game that are already there. Like, I know there's always a huge push of getting new members, getting that initial thing. But what are you doing to retain the people who are there, especially the people who are passionate about the game?
Okay. No, I like it. I like it a lot. And it's a very passionate answer, honestly. I think both of you guys are on to some very big things. That may be a very good question that Nightmare asked. We're going to follow up that very good question, an important question that Nightmare asked, with another question that he asked. Apparently, he's interested in knowing if we are boxers or briefs type of people.
Boxers.
All right, Zuzu, or no, sorry, Pup says Zuzu's boxers. What are you?
Boxers, man. The briefs, man. I mean, I'm a big fella, man. I got a little chunk on me, man. I don't need something squeezing it all, Let me get the boxers. Let me breathe a little bit.
All right.
I'm a little guy, but I still do boxers.
Oh, I love it. Oh man. See, next time I gotta limit what kind of questions these people can ask. All right. So our next podcast question is going to be from actually David. He has a good question here. He's asked, do you think the runes could use balancing out as to buffs and nerfs? So basically, do we need to see some sort of a balance system with the runes that are currently in the game? Pap Tez, you want to kick us off with that one? What's your thoughts? Do you think we need to have a balance on the runes?
I do think there needs to be a balance on the runes.
Okay.
When you think about the benefits that they bring, and you think about what people are using, how many sets are we using in the game?
Not all of them.
Yeah, not all of them, that's for sure.
We're using like what, maybe 3, 4, maybe 5, like 4, maybe.
I think when I did my video on I actually did a video explaining what runes and why you would use them. I think 9 is the overall useful set of runes, and I think the top 5, there's 5 that are like the top most used, most common runes.
And so yeah, I definitely want to see that again. Like these 2 new types of runes that we have in there, particularly to me, the one that stands out the most. Period. It stands out so much. Is just like what Zuzu mentioned earlier. Are these frost runes with having the double pieces in there, increasing the physical attack and also increasing crit rate? I definitely want to see more of that inside of the runes. Go back and adjust some of those older runes and make those sets just that little bit more valuable, especially for people, because again, not everyone is going to be able to get the phantoms that they have or that everyone has. But man, maybe they can still build some incredible characters by just having the ability to access good runes.
Okay, all right, I like it. Zuzu, what's your thought, man? What are you saying?
I do agree there should be a balance, but I think the balance should be twofold. I think number one, obviously, there's some sets that are just completely neglected,
Okay.
because of what they are, as far as like the Dracula set. Unless you're going for like a specific stat on that set, like speed or whatever, that might be a good hit on the Dracula set. I mean, obviously, you're not going to see that in use. And that's just one example of a set that's just completely neglected, in my opinion. So obviously, the sets kind of across the board need to be balanced better. But I also think that the runes, as far as upgrading, gold balancing, stuff like that, needs to be balanced as well. The amount of gold farming that has to be done to upgrade these runes to get your phantoms, put together and really powerful is kind of crazy when you figure the amount of time. Well, granted, it can be done with certain auto situations, but like the amount of gold grinding that has to be done in order to put the crazy amount of gold that it takes to upgrade these runes, it's to me it's just a lot. And I've actually seen people quit the game because it was just too much for them. Now, granted, I mean, it is what it is, right? It should be, if you're taking a rune all the way up to 15, it should be expensive. I get that. Well, then give us more avenues to get that gold farmed up. Give us ways to get that gold where we're not spending our entire day, hours upon hours, doing nothing but just running goblins. You know what I mean? Like, just give us more ways to get that gold, or give us more gold as we're doing other things, just so that it's not consuming such a big part of our day in the game. Because let's be honest, you're not sitting there giggling and laughing and having a good old time beating on goblins. You're just not. Nobody's doing that unless you're, not right in the head. Let's just say it like it is. Let's just be real.
Right,
unless you're a little loopy, you've been drinking a little bit, whatever the case might be.
Taking a little
so
there,
I'm just, I'm just trying to keep it real.
On.
just keep it real, and regardless if you're putting rich goblins in the battle assistant, you can only do so many of those. And if you're in in-game content and you're regularly redoing your phantoms, whether or not you're switching out big runes or not for other big runes, it's still costing you gold to make those switches. So it's not saving you any gold to do it that way. It's just saving you runes and it's saving you time, but you're still spending the gold. The gold still has to be farmed. So we need more avenues to get gold. So that needs to be rebalanced as well, in my opinion. So
okay, all right. No, I feel like that's really fair, and also very good points. My own personal take on the runes is I'm kind of okay with. So I've been working on videos here lately. I did a couple of rune videos, and I've got another one that's in the works right now. I'm okay with the drop rates currently for the orange runes. What really bothers me the most is this percent of the substats. I feel like substat wise is really just kills these runes. And when I say that, I mean, so you've noticed, guys, I'm sure you guys have noticed, as you get like orange runes, right, or that have like one substat on them, I think that I want to see that balanced, where I don't want to click on a rune Say, for example, we get an orange rune that has one substat on it, and then you have to unlock the other 3 substats potentially while leveling to 15. I'm tired of seeing that. I want to see them fix that to balance the runes by doing like, okay, if you have an orange rune, it automatically starts with at least 2 substats or 3 substats. And honestly, maybe even all 4. I've yet to see a rune that has all 4 of the substats on it. It's always got at least, the maximum I've seen is 3. So I feel like I personally would rather see them update or balance that aspect of it before they rebalance what's useful and what's not useful. Because I don't know. To me, I do understand that like not all runes are going to get used, because it's just like most games where like not every aspect of the game is going to get used or played, and sometimes they are thrown in there as like a caveat to maybe help people theory craft, or just kind of like hoodwink people. Like that's just normal. So yeah, that's my personal take on the runes.
Okay. So I have a question in regards to that then.
Okay. Yeah.
I also feel that there should be a little bit of a balance in between some of the runes, right? Because I think that it hurts people's soul just a little bit, just a
Okay.
little bit. When you get that, really nice rune that has all the substats that you want, and you roll that rune, it's a physical attack rune, exactly what you need for Inkaris, and it rolls a freaking magic attack on it. Please tell me why. Why are there magic attack on these physical attack runes? There's not a single character in the game that benefits from both of those. I've yet to see one. Maybe there's 1 or 2, but there's not a single character that benefits from having physical and magic attack. So I definitely want to see them kind of balance that a little bit, If it's a physical attack rune, you shouldn't get any magic attack on it. It just doesn't make sense. It's a wasted stat. And to me, it's a waste of time, because if that rune doesn't roll any of the other stats, okay. But it also could have at least been at least 1 beneficial stat there, So
No, that's fair. I think that's fair.
So just want to kind of know your thoughts
I
on
agree with that aspect, because that's really the only stat that would be completely useless to that phantom. Otherwise, any other stat that rolled, it can use in some way, shape, or form, but that magic is completely useless. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think that'd be interesting. I mean, I've seen other games do that, right? Where they lock out certain substats on certain main stats of equipment, right? So I feel like that would be okay to have, like, like if you have a physical attack or a magic attack rune, that one can't roll the same physical or magic, the opposite of what it is. I don't know, I'd even like maybe argue that like on the accuracy rune, right? Same deal. Like you're not going to get an accuracy rune that doesn't that'll roll like resistance. Or, you know what I mean? Like if you got an accuracy rune, typically you want accuracy on them. So yeah, I could see that. I don't disagree with it. I feel like that could be a really good balance as well. Because I know like my first thought is like let's think of the low hanging fruits for the fixes more so than like a general a complete meta change. So yeah, no, I like it. I like the thought of it. All right, moving on, we have Nightmare has another question for us. Oh God, we should all be afraid. Create an enchantment, make one up. What does it do? How does it work? And what broken shit would you make your summoner cast? So essentially, Nightmare's asking us how broken of an enchantment would we make, and what would it do to the game? Pap Tez, what about you? We caught Zuzu off guard in the last one, so let's catch you off guard. What are you doing? What are you doing for a custom enchantment?
I think a custom enchantment that I think would be kind of cool is maybe like a debuff spread enchantment. So
Oh, okay.
And it'll make some of those single target people a little bit more effective, to where basically whichever target has the most debuffs, it takes those debuffs and spreads it across all other phantoms.
Okay.
So just a small one like that. I think that could come into the game that I think would be somewhat decent.
Okay. All right. I like it. Zuzu, what are you doing? What are you changing, brother?
I'm making a completely broken enchantment.
Okay.
Mine's called Arctic Blast.
Okay.
It will immediately have a chance to freeze the entire opposing team, and if it does get frozen, it will remove any buffs on that phantom
Okay.
upon
I like
freezing.
that. I like that.
I like it.
So that way, when that phantom is frozen, it cannot have the unkillable buff on that phantom.
Yeah.
So you can still kill them in arena.
I like that because a lot of times that'll get you locked out, and you're just doing the back and forth until the end of
Right.
days. I like it. I like that. Myself, if I'm making a custom enchantment, I'm going pure speed. I'm doing a so like I think we can go up to like 30% speed boost. I'm going like 60% speed increase, and we're decreasing the enemy's battle meter by half. I think that's the enchantment I would go with. Like I'm one of those guys where I like to, I'm all about like, let's do ground and pound, do the damage, and neglect the speed. Okay, let's make up that speed. Give me an enchantment that I can just immediately poof, we're caught up, and the enemy team is just SOL. I think that's the enchantment I'm going with.
Okay, I like that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next question we also have from Nightmare. He asks, how would you incorporate a faction wars style game mode in SG? So I think he's referring to Raids Faction Wars. Would you incorporate something like that into SG? And if so, how would you do it? I think we started with Pap Tez last time. So Zuzu, you're up. How are you doing? How are you doing that? And what are your thoughts on it?
I don't think it would be that hard to do. As far as, because we already have the elements, right? So it would be obviously a smaller cross section because you would keep it, element based. You could only use light, you could only use dark, you could only whatever, right? But I think that it would be interesting, right? Because then you could maybe figure out ways to utilize the different elements by themselves and not always depend on the quote unquote meta teams of Ankaris and Zoe and Los and all the mixture of the elements. Obviously, I've named a bunch of ones that are different elements for a reason, but
Right.
I mean, like, you would be stuck with a certain element to work on and having to beat some pretty difficult teams with those elements. I think that in those cases, though, I think would be fun to be able to add the same phantoms to the team.
Okay.
Though, so an aspect of the game right now that you're not able to, and I don't know if they even fixed this or not, but you can add, if you have an S and a double S of a phantom, you can add them to the same team. At least you could. I don't know if they fixed that or not, but you can't if they're the same, double S's. You can't have them on the same team. I think in Faction Wars, if they put it in this game, that you should be able to. So if you happen to have a fully booked Zoe and you pull another Zoe, she's not completely useless anymore. You can use her in your Faction Wars version of this game.
Okay.
So I think that would kind of be a fun little aspect of it. I think that would be a neat little thing if they added it to the game. And I think it wouldn't be. I say it all the time. It wouldn't be that hard to do. Obviously, it'd be hard to do, but I mean, like, it'd be another part of the game where it would let us utilize some things that maybe would just sit around and collect dust otherwise.
Okay. Pap Tez, what are you saying about that? What's your thoughts on it?
I'm about the same. And definitely, I wanted to, do it based off of the elements that we have, right? Maybe have one that kind of incorporates all elements, to allow you to kind of put in that team any way that you want to. If you want to run the team with, you want to flex and run the team with, 3 Zoes and maybe it's a 6-man team, 3
Okay.
Zoes, 2 Merlins and a puppet, like just whatever you want to do. But I also would want them to incorporate a way in which we could play with other people. And so, of course, you have like your solo completions, but also you're able to bring in other people to come in and fight in on that faction and have some fun. Again, same thing, man. Anytime that you can bring something, an event into a game to where you can play it with your friends, it's gonna be something that's beneficial to the game.
Okay. All right, I like it. So the next question here, I just scrolled through, and we're going to skip a few questions because, man, these people redeemed a lot of questions. So the next one that we're going to cover is Do you think there should be a training room for new players? So I don't know exactly what they're implying by a training room, but let's take that and roll with it. As far as like a tutorial based, like, do you think there should be a better tutorial than what we have in the game currently? And what are your thoughts on it? Let's start with Pap Tez.
Yeah, most definitely. Um, just being able to kind of go into the game and understand, buffing, debuffing, understand what's control effects, understand what's, positive effects, understand what's negative effects, and those different things in the game. So at least when they go and they read the skills up on the character, they know what they're doing. Like, to me, I always want a game to at least give you some of that. So that it's just a little bit easier to play. It draws a new person in because they're like, they feel like that they're getting immersed in the game. They're like, oh man, now I know kind of how to use the skills. Well,
Right.
I'm gonna go fight some stuff and figure out what I can do with all these new skills that I have. So
Okay. All right. Zuzu, what about you, buddy?
The way I take it by training room, I'm thinking that they're thinking a place that you can go in the game if you feel like you need some extra practice at something in the game. So
Okay.
I would think that they would be able to go in there and practice, whether it be fights like arena fights or abode fights, whatever or like the fighting mechanism in the game. They don't understand how to use enchantments, so maybe they can go in there and do enchantments training, stuff like that. I think as long as it's an optional part of the game that people who don't need it don't have to do it, and it's not incorporated into the actual walkthrough at the beginning of the game, I think it'd be a great feature to have. I just think it should be an optional part that only people who feel like they need it can go in there and do it. Otherwise, they don't have to. But yeah, I think that's be a cool thing to have.
Okay. All right. I like it. So, to piggyback off of the training room, the next question we have here is the difference between defense versus attack. Should you be able to just one shot everything in the game, especially in the arena? What's your guys' thoughts on that? Because I know that kind of plays into the training thing as well. Because as you guys learn how to fight and you figure out better combinations, you're gonna possibly one shot stuff. So how do you guys feel about the thoughts on defense versus attack? Tobin's the one who actually asked this question, who currently leads Server 3 as one of the most powerful Phantom Masters in Server 3.
I think that right now speed is king, right? Pretty much, if you're top tier in arena and you go first, chances are you're gonna win. Just because I mean, if you're built well, right? I mean, Zoe's going to come in, do her AOE, you're going to kill most of the team. Or if you got a really well built King Arthur, then you're going to last long enough to kill the other. But what I would like to see, because he did mention defense versus damage or attack, is being able to build up enough defense in addition to having a good amount of damage, so that you can take some of those hits and actually have a good round, actually have a good match, actually use some strategy and with the things that you're doing, and have enough time to react if you make a mistake, or if if the other person goes first, where you still have a chance to win. And then if you are doing it like per se, like for you and I and Papa that are doing it on the stream, the people that actually care to watch, because right now people don't give a shit about watching you play arena on the screen. It's just like you go in, if you're fast enough, you win, you lose, whatever. Nobody gives a shit. You move on. I mean, I'm sorry to, it is what it is, right? I mean, it's not really exciting like it could be, right? If the teams were, able to last more than a few hits, if that, I mean, it's just so. I'm just saying, like, it may work as intended, but but it's not enough, right? I mean, because everything is so friggin' powerful. I just want it to be not. I'd hate to use the word balance because it's a scary word to use.
Right.
But I want us to be able to have more of a back and forth a little bit. I don't want like 15-minute matches. I don't even want 5-minute matches. But I want more than just, oh crap, I let his Zoe go. Oh, I'm dead. It's over.
Right.
It's like, I mean, that's not fun. I mean, you're stomping on the neck of your opponent every now and then is great, but I mean, like every friggin' time, it's got to be friggin' boring. Even for Mr. Number One over here, Joey. I mean, I respect the hell out of him, the work he's put in, the money he's put in, the time he's put in. That's great, man. But how fun is that? I mean, honestly, You know, come on.
All right. Pap Tez, what's your thoughts on it? What are you thinking? What are you thinking of the difference of the attack versus defense? Should you be able to one shot everything? Should you be able to do that? What are you saying?
I
Let's
think
hear
you
Rick
should
James.
definitely. The Rick James answer is I think you should have the ability to one shot, so that you can see the power that you have.
Okay.
But you should also have the ability to have a strong enough defense to be able to take those hits. So I want to
Okay.
see a little bit more things based off of defense within the game. And you mentioned both sides of it. You mentioned both PvP, and I think Zuzu did a pretty good job of touching on that. But yeah, I mean, I think you should at least be able to one shot somebody. Like that
Right.
just makes sense. But maybe there should be some damage mitigation for the other phantoms, whatever. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe it's just a matter of balancing the other phantoms that are more defensive. Maybe they just need to be better. I don't know.
Maybe so.
Maybe that's just it.
Maybe so. And it sure is ad hocs. It sure is. I just had to give an answer to that one right there. As far as like the PvE side of it, I know that there's I don't know. It's such a touchy point because we always want to go through content as quickly as possible. I feel like we want to beat the content in a reasonable manner. And not have to struggle too much with it, especially if we have to do it over and over again. But if there was some sort of content to where, you can't necessarily go out there and just one shot the content, but you could actually, I think one of the favorite ways in which I've seen it done, and some other stuff is it was a little bit hard for the content, but then you saw different buffs to different stats. So let's say like, the grenades, that's a totally different style of game, but let's say like maybe like the physical attackers hit 50% harder, for example, right, for this week in this particular piece of content. I would love to see some stuff like that, to that has the variety in the PvE side of things, to where you can switch some stuff up and have a little fun with that. But yeah, I mean, I think that you should have some sort of like feeling like you could one shot with certain phantoms, with certain characters. But kind of like what Zuzu said, yeah, buff the defensive characters, make them feel valuable. It's if you see a well-built puppet or you see a well-built King Arthur, they are freaking scary. They are some of the most scary.
They smack. They do smack.
Not only do they tank the hits, but they smack. So I want to see more of that.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. That was something else I kind of noticed in the game, so I'm kind of glad that got brought up. Is like like Zuzu had mentioned earlier, when he was creating his own phantom, he was said a tank. That was the first thing that came out of his mouth. When I play MMORPG games, I'm a tank. That's what I love to do. I love to be that guy who's up in your face and just smacking you with a healer trying to heal me. And that's the role I like to take in MMORPG games. So when I kind of saw this game, and it's kind of the same thought I apply to every game, is like I do like to have that good mix or balance of like HP defense with your attack, right? But in this game, it seems like it's a little skewed to where, your defense doesn't quite go nearly as far as your amount of attack or damage does. So it makes it really hard to really scale that. So you are easily able to get one shot. So yeah, I kind of agree with like what you guys are thinking. We need to kind of skew it a little bit, whether it be just adding extra defense to like their base substats, or making the ratio from attack to defense when the damage is calculated. Maybe we switch that up a little bit. Because I do agree, like you should be able to one shot some PvE content, but PvP wise, like if you have a decent amount of defense, you should not be getting one shot. Or if you have 2 million HP, because that's all you have is HP substats on every single one of your runes, you shouldn't get one shot. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have to kind of agree with your guys' stance on that a little bit, as far as like, I don't feel like you should always be able to get one shot, but to a certain degree, like if you have absolutely 100% min max the damage potential, like Pap Tez was saying, that you should be allowed to go ahead and one shot people, because you're able to see the power you have. So I like it. And with that, we have one more question that I guess we'll humor. Warbarb asks, this is for Pap Tez. What other skills is your new Phantom going to have, and what is the name of it? So he was very, very attracted to that Phantom that you're explaining to us. So if you
Yeah.
had to think of a name of your new Phantom, what are you naming him?
I don't know what the name of it is yet because I'm not really that good with names, but I can definitely humor you on the skills. Like I said, you have kind of like that AoE revive that kind of buffs the damage, buffs the defense. Gives your phantoms that 50% attack bar for every phantom, which basically is that person is almost kind of like a multi role where they're both a tank, but they're also a reviver,
Okay.
slash kind of like healer. Also too probably have like a A1 or an attack that basically heals somebody else for I don't know if it'll be for the damage that's done or if it'll be a certain percentage.
Okay.
Maybe clear, negative status effects on that particular character. Just take one and clear the negative status effects on them. And probably have, passives like um maybe two passives where it's if they
He's thinking. He's thinking real
I
hard,
know
ladies and gentlemen.
because I really want this is the main thing that I really want to see also too with that with a tank is
Hmm.
I want to see a tank variety where either like if other people get attacked, chance for your tank or whatever to attack them, and then if that tank attacks or counterattacks, there's a high chance of provoking that particular person that attacked your other
Like
team,
the Big Brother passive.
like the Big Brother
Okay.
passive. So he
All right.
literally just like, your Zoe gets hit or your Ankars gets hit, and he's just like, oh nah, bruh, smack, and then all of a sudden he's getting provoked. And then basically when you get hit with the provoke, now
Hmm.
again, you have like another passive that kind of stacks on that where it's like, your defense gets weakened every time that you hit them, or your attack gets weakened any other time that you anytime. And to me, I don't know, like it adds a really cool dynamic to me. You got this
Okay.
you got this glowing character here that's a true tank. It's a really tank. It's a really unique one, and it's a true tank.
All right, I hope the devs were listening to that one.
So,
Hopefully somebody translated
especially
that one for us.
especially the Big Brother passive. I
Hey,
think that's
if
the
there
best
if
part
there
about
gets
it.
to be a Big Brother passive in the game, I better get some royalties. That's all I
Yeah,
got to
there,
say
there,
right
better,
now.
there better
Make
be
it,
some
make it clear.
royalties falling back. Yep,
Better
yep.
get some royalties.
You heard it here first,
Oh
first,
my
ladies and gentlemen.
goodness.
All right, guys. That is all the questions that we had for the podcast and the people that joined me today. I want to conclude kind of today's podcast. So, guys, do you want to let the viewers know and the listeners know exactly where they can find you? Because this is going to go up on YouTube. Zuzu, you want to go ahead and kick us off? Let us know where they can find you, like what content are you creating for and what platforms, and anything that you have that's kind of like up and coming that you want to announce or broadcast to everybody.
Well, I mean, as always, you can find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Zuzu_game time. Stream about 4 times a week usually. I don't do a whole lot of YouTube yet. Trigger Happy John's been trying to get on me about getting the YouTube started, and maybe that'll happen. Because I am, always pretty pumped about Summoner's Glory and getting some content out there. So maybe that'll happen sometime in the near future. But you can always find me over at Twitch, and if you need to get a hold of me, hit me up on Discord, and I'll get it back to you. Try to make myself available for the community whenever I can. But other than that, man, just much love. Appreciate y'all.
Okay. Pap Tez, how about you, brother? Same question, different answer.
Definitely a little bit different answer. For me, I definitely do variety content. But I think the community on Friday solidified with me that you need to spend a little bit more time in Summoner's Glory. So I definitely think that I'm
Okay.
I'm gonna bring a permanent, probably Friday, day for Summoner's Glory.
Okay.
And that way, you'll know every Friday, we're going in, we're playing Summoner's Glory, we're gonna do some stuff in the game, we're gonna have some fun and go from there. Again, you can follow me. You can find me definitely on Twitch, twitch.tv/Papa_Tez. I'm also starting to get into the YouTube world. I've made my first video, as I mentioned before. I'm at 74 I think subscribers. So trying to get to that 100 so I can have that little permanent name and keep pushing it. Keep pushing it. There's not a whole lot of content that's out there. So I just want to bring a little bit of fun and some of the cool tips and tricks that I learn along for other people through YouTube. So you can definitely look out for those upcoming continuing in the next couple of months. Also too, you can definitely find me on Discord. I have my own Discord server too, so you can always feel free to come in there. A lot of times, especially on the weekends, if I don't have too much that I'm doing, anyone can feel free to come in and hang out and kind of chill. So
All right, awesome. Thank you guys. I just want to thank you guys so much for coming on the channel today and kind of answering this Q&A style podcast. I had a lot of fun. It was great having you guys on here. I think the viewers definitely enjoyed it. So for those watching on YouTube, we had a lot of fun. Make sure you come out on and check us out on the actual Twitch channel so that way you can watch this live as we're recording it. But yeah, guys, this is gonna conclude the Phantom's Call episode 5, and thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch this. Until next time, guys. Peace.
yeah, I didn't sweat on the forehead. We're good.